Mr. Sam Callahan, what keeps people stuck in the matrix, conforming, obeying, submitting?
They get distracted. They get distracted by things that don't really matter, that get pushed on them in the media, and it's like the next thing, right? And then they're harping the next thing, and they don't realize that they're being manipulated and that it's basically propaganda. And, people who get out of the matrix, they start to learn. They start to read books. They start to, listen to people that are spreading more signal, like independent journalists, or, podcasts are becoming more popular. It's people who are curious will dig a little bit deeper past the headlines to find something that, more resembles the truth or how the world actually works. And so, I think that's the number one thing that keeps people in the matrix, is just getting distracted, focusing on things that aren't important or headlines that are meant to keep them from getting out of the matrix.
And one more before the finish the sentence line. So I just thought of one real quick, is what's something that most Bitcoiners either believe, you could take this either way. What is something that most Bitcoiners believe, it could be a conspiracy, that you don't think is true, or it could be the opposite? What is something that you think is true that other people might not think is true?
I don't know. We were just talking about this, but there's a lot of conspiracy. There's a lot of conspiracy theories about JFK, and I don't know if people don't believe this, but I actually think that when you look at history and what happened in terms of our, moving off the gold standard and the loss of trust in institutions, it's really, you could argue that the assassination of RFK was actually more impactful than JFK.
Ooh.
And not a lot of people have dug down into that story of that world and that campaign and what he was doing. There's a great documentary that kind of covers a little bit of it, but his assassination is really fascinating rabbit hole to go down, and I don't think it gets enough attention. And so, I think, I don't know if people don't agree with that or what. I just think JFK and RFK, those two assassinations really set the stage for a future. And RFK was really significant because who became president then? Richard Nixon. And so then we had Watergate, and then we had him obviously removing us from the gold standard. And would he even been president if RFK wasn't assassinated? So it's interesting.
Wild. That's the first time we've heard that one. So I love that. I love that. We're going to explore that more. Maybe in a future episode of the real show, we'll have to explore that. I would love to talk about that more. All right, lastly, being someone, being a playable character in a sea of non-playable characters, obviously the tagline of the show, finish the sentence. Being a playable character is?
I'd say, proudly independent and open-minded and a critical thinker. I think those are the things, they are not afraid to think for themselves and stand up for the values that they believe in and go against the crowd and, be independent and be proud of that. And so,
thanks, Doc. Appreciate it, brother.
Of course.